The Sapiens gang just grew to 5,000 epic members. And this means that it is finally the time to do my first ever Get to Know Me Q&A. What's cooking, Sapiens? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Arham and I'm a fourth year medical student at the University of Oslo here in Norway. Now, before we get on with the video, I just want to say a huge thank you to every single person out there who has subscribed to my channel and joined the Sapiens family. As always, all the timestamps will be in the description box below, so you guys can skip through and watch exactly the parts that you want to watch. And now let's get straight to business. Okay, so first question, what is your favorite dish? Now, if you are brown or Desi or Indian, Pakistani, Bangladeshi, I don't know. If you're brown, the point is that you already know the answer to this question in 99% of the cases. And it's the same for me, nothing special really. It has to be biryani, no doubt about that. Next question, what made you study medicine? I think that's a tricky question because for me personally, I used to love biology, there's no doubt about the fact. I was really interested in science as well. But why exactly did I choose medicine and not any other field in science, you know? And the main reason behind that, I would say, is that I used to get good grades from a very young age, so I've always been that massive nerd. And the sort of culture and background I come from, it's very natural for somebody who has good grades to choose medicine and become a doctor. So that was like the natural pathway to take for me as well. My mom was a doctor, my sister is a doctor, so when it was my turn, I was like, okay, yeah, well, I think that's what I'm supposed to do as well since I'm good at school, if that makes any sense. Tips for anatomy exam, question from a nursing student. Alright, so two things I have to say over here. Firstly, focus on the bigger picture and do not lose the forest from the trees, because you have so many other minor details in anatomy, you know, all these veins, nerves, muscles, that you can really drown into all those minor details. Focus on not losing the forest from the trees, number one, and number two, quiz each other, ask each other questions, work in, you know, colloquiums and study groups, because that's what we used to do all the time. We would ask each other questions and simulate the exam situation multiple times before the exam day, and that really helped. What was your GPA in high school? 5.8. What are your distractions and how do you manage time to study? Now, I think this is pretty much common for everybody out there, or every student out there, because whenever you are studying, the main distraction everybody has is this phone right here. And the way the main problem I have with my phone is that, you know, updating my Instagram analytics and TikTok analytics. I think that's the main trouble I have, especially on the days when I'm working on a video or have published a video. I think that's like the main distraction I have, even though I try and tell myself that, okay, Arham, the numbers are not in your control, so just churn out videos every single week. That's the only thing that is in your hands. Everything else, or everything above that, is not really in my hands. It's not really in my control, so why worry about that? But it's easier said than done, you know. So yeah, that's the main distraction. And secondly, how exactly do I manage time to study? I think this one major philosophy that has really helped me is that I love to organize studying around my life and not the other way around. So my life is not organized around my studying, but it's the other way around. So for example, if I had to choose between hitting the gym or getting some work done, I would obviously choose gym. If I had to choose between filming a YouTube video and studying, I would always choose filming a YouTube video. And that's because this allows me to do anything else and, you know, really satisfy my other needs. That sounds a bit weird, but yeah. And whenever I have, like, let's say a 2-hour window or 2 to 3 hours at the end of the day, when I have done everything else, I have nothing more to do on my to-do list, that's when I sit down and study, because, you know, Parkinson's law, work expands to fill the time that you allocate to it. So when I know that, okay, I only have 2 hours to get studying done before I need to get to bed, that is exactly what I'm going to do, and I'm going to be extremely efficient while working as well. So yeah, I try and organize my studying around my life and not my life around studying, if that makes sense. What's it like being down there at the dissection hall? So in case somebody does not know, so when you are a medical student, you are learning anatomy, you have to basically dissect human bodies, and that's how you learn anatomy. And personally, I used to love it. I think that was one of the best experiences of my life, because, you know, being able to open a human body is like one of the greatest honors that we can have. So yeah, I think it was a wonderful experience, but I still know other people who, you know, puked and got really, you know, I don't know, like, disgusted the first time they were in there. But for me, it went really well, luckily enough. But yeah, you should definitely look forward to it, because it's gonna be extremely fun. Do you want your wife to be studying medicine also? That's a really interesting question. So I mean, she doesn't have to be a doctor or a dentist for that matter, but the thing is, when you are in this, environment, when you are surrounded by people who are, medical students, dental students, doctors, I think it's quite natural to like end up with somebody from that environment as well. So yeah, she doesn't have to be a doctor, but yeah, the chances or the odds are that I might end up with somebody from the same field. Time will tell. And then we have quite a few questions asking me what I want to specialize in. And as per today, I think I'm leaning a bit more towards ENT, but this keeps changing all the time. Whenever we have new subjects, I'm like, oh, this is interesting, this is fun. Maybe I should do this. And yeah, so it keeps changing all the time. But yeah, per today, I'm more towards leaning more towards ENT. Next question, favorite subject in medical school? I think that would have to be anatomy. Living in Norway in general, pros and cons, etc. So I think the biggest advantage of actually living here in Norway is that all education is completely free of cost. Primary school, secondary school, high school, like college, university, be it medicine, pharmacy, literature, physics, chemistry, anything you want to study at the university level, all education is basically free. So I'm becoming a doctor for free. That sounds so freaking weird, because people pay like thousands of dollars and thousands of pounds in countries like the UK or the US or Australia, when they're becoming a doctor, and people are basically drowning in student debts. So I think this is the best part about living in Norway, that you get free education. And if I had to choose like the major con, like one major disadvantage, I think that would have to be, firstly, it's one of the most expensive countries in the world. And secondly, I would have to say that the society in general is quite conservative. People like to be low-key and not really interact with others, not really socialize unless they are having alcohol. So I think that's a major disadvantage, because so for example, if I have to go out there and vlog with my camera, people are going to be like, oh, what's this guy doing? So people don't like to show off. And if you are doing something like that, people will think that, okay, this guy Arham, he thinks that he is something, what does he think of himself? How dare he vlog? Who do you think you are? So I think that kind of an attitude is quite prevalent within the society, and that's, I think, a big con. At what age did you start studying medicine? So I started right after college, or right after I finished high school, and I was 20 by then. What do you like to carry with you at hospital placements? Now I could actually make an entire video about this, the what's in my bag video, but like generally speaking, I'm the sort of person who always has something missing, so I have to borrow stuff from other people, first thing. Second of all, if there's one thing that I always need to have, then it has to be either my iPad or my MacBook, because whenever I have some free time, if I'm sitting and waiting for a patient, there's nothing to do for like the next 2 hours, then I have to sit down and either start planning my next YouTube video, or start editing a video, or just crack out some studying. So I always need to have one of these gadgets with me, either my MacBook or my iPad. What are your top tips for first and second year medical students? So I have an entire video on this, the link will be in the description box below, but if there has to be one thing that I need to say, then it would definitely be, please do not waste time on taking tons and tons of pretty notes. You have your seniors who have already done the work for you. Just, talk to a senior, get their notes, and just use them to study. Save tons of time, because time is money, and when you're in medical school, you want to save as much time as possible in order to engage in other activities in life. In Pakistan, you are from where? All your family is in Norway, and where did you do your intermediate from? So I'm from Lahore, and yes, my entire family is here in Norway as well, and I did my 9th, 10th, and like my intermediate, like till my 11th grade, I did that from Pakistan, from Lahore. I did my GCSE O levels before I moved to Norway. Next question, how much math and physics do you use in medical school? Very, very, very little, because I think the only math we use is basically in the very beginning of medical school, where we have 8 weeks of statistics, and then we use some maths in pharmacology, when you are calculating doses and concentrations of all these drugs. So yeah, but it's still very little math and very basic math. Do you have a Norwegian driving license, and which car do you have? So I do have a driver's license, but I do not have any car yet, but we'll get there soon. No hurry, man. Can I come to Norway to study medicine without any GPA? No, you can't. What was the GPA in 12th standard? I think you mean in intermediate. So I did my O levels from Pakistan, and I got like 5 A stars and 5 A's. If you could go on an exchange year, where would you go? So I was really leaning towards South Africa at a certain point, when I was really into going to or having an exchange year, but now I'm like, oh, whatever, COVID destroyed everything, so I'm like, yeah, I'm not really keen on taking an exchange year anymore. Who's your favorite girlfriend back in Norskurs? I mean, girlfriend, I think you mean a female friend, because I don't really have that many girlfriends. Sad life. By the way, so proud of you. Thank you, Ren. Definitely you were my best friend, or my female best friend from Norwegian course. Yeah, so yeah, hi, if you're watching this. We definitely need to have a meetup soon. Can you show us your grades from your diploma from high school? Of course I can, and here you go. If not medicine, what else would you have studied? So since I'm a massive nerd and a science guy, it would have to be something inside or in, you know, within the science field. So for example, dentistry, clinical nutrition, pharmacy, biotechnology, or any psychology. So yeah, anything related to science and the human body. Are you going to join the MSF someday? I would absolutely love to, but I don't know if I'm actually going to do that because it's not really compatible with family life. But having said that, I mean, people and doctors who actually work in MSF, I think they are absolute legends and idols. And yeah, it would be a huge honor if I actually get to do it one day. But yeah, since family life is really important for me as well, so I would really have to see if it's compatible with family life. If yes, then why not? Can I get taller after 20? No, you cannot, because our growth plates in our joints stop growing after like 18 to 20 years, so yeah, you can't. Do medical students get 2 months summer break? Yes, they absolutely do that, because most people think that when you're a medical student you have to study all the time and there are no breaks, no vacations. That is not the case. You get your summer holidays as usual, as everybody else. I failed an entrance exam and now I'm losing all my potential and motivation to start over. So one thing you have to know is that a lot of medical students actually, you know, work really hard to get into medical school. There are very few people who actually get into medical school directly from college. So yeah, a lot of people, you know, improve their grades, take up the subjects privately, retake their exams, and try to improve their GPA here in Norway. So this is a pretty normal thing to do. So yeah, if you are really motivated or you really want to become a doctor, I think then you should not worry about failing an exam, failing the entrance exam once. You can always retake that exam and, you know, be even better prepared for the next time. So yeah, keep in mind that failure is you have to go through failure in order to achieve success. Success does not come without failure. Is endocrinology and cardiology popular here in Norway? Yes, they are. Like in every other country, these are like two very, very demanding fields. So yeah, you have to be at the top of your game in order to, you know, get into these fields. Do you think Norway is good for doctors? Yes, it definitely is. I think it's one of the best countries for doctors. But if you want to earn more money, then I think countries like the US would be a better option. And what courses can we choose for masters? I already have an entire video on this, so the link will be in the description box below. Can you make more episodes of a day in your life as a medical student in Oslo University? Yes, I can, and I will, because from next week we'll be starting, you know, physical lectures. So I will be at the university much more often, because for the past, you know, year we have only been having online lectures and online seminars, so everything has been online. So there's not much stuff that's going on. So yeah, but yeah, from next week I will. Why did you choose medicine as a career? I've already answered that. And what do you like and dislike about the theoretical and clinical parts during medical school? So one thing I dislike about the theoretical part, like the first 2 years, which is like the pre-clinical years, is that you have to study a lot of these minor details, and these are things which are not really relevant for you as a doctor. You know, in your clinical practice you are not using any of that knowledge, and most of that stuff is actually just gets forgotten, you know. So you have to spend these long hours trying to learn stuff which will not really be helpful when you're actually working as a doctor. And one thing I actually really like about the clinical years is that you get to interact with patients, so patient interactions. And secondly, you know, it's a lot more physical learning, so you have to examine patients and you are, you know, at the clinics or in these clinical groups, and you get to meet patients and you get to learn a lot by being with patients or by being with, you know, doctors. So that's how you learn the most, and not just sitting at the library with your books, you know, and trying to memorize all the theoretical stuff. What do you love about the profession as a physician, and has this view changed over the years? So actually one thing that has changed is that I have realized that being a doctor sounds much more glamorous than it actually is. And because when you're a student, or before getting into medical school, you think that, okay, being a doctor is like the coolest thing ever, you know, it's the coolest profession, you are saving lives and all that stuff. But once you actually become a doctor, it's not really that glamorous. So yeah, I think it sounds way more cool than it actually is. And one thing I love about this profession is actually the smile that you see on your patient's face when they get their treatment, because that is really satisfying and humbling at the same time. So yeah, that has to be the best part about this profession. What's your best and worst memory as a medical student in Norway? Okay, so the worst memory would definitely have to be this one time where I failed an exam in medical school, or I failed the easiest exam in medical school. So I think that was like the most disappointing moment, and I'll make a whole video about this later on where I explain what exactly happened. But when it comes to best memory, I think the best memory would have to be, it's not really a memory, but I think the best decision I've ever taken is like making this or starting this YouTube channel, because had I not been a medical student, I would definitely not have made this channel either. So I think that's the best memory. Or if I have to choose any specific memory from like medical school, I would have to say my anatomy exam, because that was one exam I really killed. So yeah, and that exam actually got me a job at the medical faculty as well as assistant teacher in anatomy. So yeah, I'm gonna be starting medicine spring 2022. So do you have any tips and tricks? I think the biggest point I want to say to everybody out there is that when you are starting medical school or university in general, I think it's really important to take initiative when you are socializing, because remember, everybody is starting out for the first time, everybody is new, everybody is nervous. So when you are starting out in university, just be that person who takes initiative first, who starts conversations first. Try and be that person, and yeah, life will be much easier. I'm telling you from my own experience. How to get through lectures without spending 4 hours on taking notes? I think the short answer is not take notes, or like stop taking notes, because that really saves me tons of time without compromising on the quality of my learning. And for a detailed answer, check out my video on how I use Notion in medical school and how I stopped taking notes. The link will be somewhere over here. How did you learn Norwegian? How long did it take? Plus, how is it communicating with patients? So I learned Norwegian when I moved to Norway with my family in 2013. I attended a course, like an 8-month course, language course. So I was just learning the Norwegian language during these 8 months, and I got sort of fluent after like 4 or 5 months. And secondly, how is it communicating with patients? I would have to say it's not really a problem anymore, because actually now, after living in Norway for like almost 8 years, I'm more fluent in Norwegian than I am in English, because you know, when you're out there, or like 90% of my time I'm speaking Norwegian with my friends, family, at work, patients, at school. So yeah, it's like I'm actually more fluent in Norwegian. So yeah, speaking to patients is not really a problem anymore. How long have you been studying? I think you mean how long I have been in medical school. Well, in that case, the answer is 4 years. I'm a 4th year medical student. How to learn the language fast? So I think the best way to learn any language is to actually use it all the freaking time. So, you know, I don't know, like watch Norwegian television shows, Norwegian music, Norwegian books, actually there are a lot of YouTube channels which teach Norwegian as well. So yeah, there are plenty of ways of actually doing this. I also have a whole video on this. Check out the link, it will be in the description box below. That's the wrap for today, Sapiens, and once again, thank you to everybody who has joined the Sapiens gang and subscribed to the channel. And if you haven't done that yet, then please consider doing so. Just slap that subscribe button down below, and yeah, keep supporting, and we will keep growing as a family. I hope you found the video useful and fun, and if you did, then you might want to check out this video, which will surely add some value to your life. And I'll see you guys on the other side. Take care. Peace.